Good morning, everybody, and a happy Wednesday morning to you. There's a lot in here as usual. Oh my goodness. A big thank you to that one on Twitter for the picture above. Let's just jump in and get busy, shall we? Let's go. We're going to start off with King Charles and Queen Camilla because they attended the preview of the Chelsea Flower Show. We know that this is a gardening event that has been organized since 1913 by the Royal Horticultural Society, and King Charles was wearing an absolutely fabulous pinstripe suit, and there were a lot of people there during the preview, which we're going to get to in just a minute. Just as an FYI, this flower show was one of the events that ushers in a season that culminates with Royal Ascot and Wimbledon. The suggested but unwritten dress code for visiting the flower show is smart casual, with the keyword being comfortable, as you can infer from all the people that are there and what they're wearing. For those who may not know it, King Charles is actually the patron of the Horticultural Society. And one of the first stops Charles and Camilla made was to look at the Highgrove shop. That's right, they have their own shop there at the flower show, which we had heard about already and I'd reported to you, where they're selling jelly, jam, honey, all kinds of gardening things, plants. It looks like they've put together a beautiful shop. I love the hen at the top. Now we know that Catherine has the Catherine Rose, which is one of the show's highlights, but also Camilla was seen holding these beautiful flowers, and come to find out this one was for the king. That's right, it was the king's flower. I love that. Now, there were lots of displays like the bee in conservation display, but while they were outside of the Highgrove display, the king met with a lot of people. First up was Felicity Kendall. Also seen at the show was Mary Berry and Alan Titchmarsh, who we know is a good friend of the Queen's. Also spotted there was Lady Amelia Windsor, who is the granddaughter of the Duke of Kent. Catherine's brother James Middleton and sister-in-law Elise Middleton were spotted with their dogs. FYI, they were also featured in Hello magazine, in case you were unaware. Dame Joanna Lumley was spotted attending the flower show, looking absolutely gorgeous. And you know who else was spotted? Edward, the Duke of Edinburgh. Freshly back from Rome, and thank you to Remoulade Sauce for showing us his tie, which I love. Now, you should know that before they left their own stall, the Highgrove stall, they ran into none other than David Beckham. This was interesting. We know that David is already an ambassador for the King's Foundation, but apparently he's going to be working on a new campaign to help inspire young people into careers in horticulture. So they met up at the Highgrove shop. David was wearing one of the king's roses. It's the new rose that was named in the king's honor, and they were very happy to see each other. Now, we know that David just had his birthday, and he was overheard thanking the king for something, which is probably a birthday gift. And King Charles wrote back, "You got it, didn't you?" And David said, "It was incredible, thank you. It was very kind." And Camilla then said, "Nice to see you again. Glad you got the roses." Now, going back to the King's Rose, you should know it's being shown at this Chelsea Flower Show for the very first time, and all sales are going to support the King's Foundation. This is just like Catherine's Rose is going to support cancer. Now, it's being suggested that this meeting is sending a message to Harry and Brooklyn. I don't believe that that's really what's going on, because they've already got a really good friendship going. It's been going for some time. Queen Camilla met some Chelsea pensioner members. I love their outfits. You should know that David Beckham met them as well, and he also met with fellow ambassador Alan Titchmarsh, and also alumni Lily Hitchcock and Hannah Evans. They were part of the King's Foundation furniture making. I'm trying to get the words out. And their table was featured as a centerpiece. So I just think that this whole thing is very nice. It's very obvious that David has picked a side. He has picked the side of the king. There you go. Now, also spotted again, besides the Duke of Edinburgh, was the Duchess of Gloucester. You guys know how much I love her. All right, next up, Peter Phillips and his girlfriend Harriet Spurling were pictured attending the badminton horse trials in Gloucestershire this past weekend. They look very happy. I hope they're, gonna make it. All right, let's move on to Lady Gabriella Kingston. She recently became the patron of charity Restore the Music, which helps schools to provide music lessons and inspire children to make music together. And she attended their charity 2025 gala at the Nobu Hotel in London last week. She doesn't give that many interviews, but she praised Catherine to include her in the Together at Christmas music and, some other events. Now, talking about Catherine, her business task force, which is working to better the lives of young children, is said to have reached 500,000 children in the last year. You have Lego and a bunch of other, companies that have taken part investing in schemes, including funding training for 1,300 early years teachers to raising parent leave after birth for all parents to 26 weeks with full pay. Now, Catherine's Royal Foundation-led initiative is one of the major cornerstones of her public work, and it's something that she's always been really interested in, even through her cancer treatment. 8 major firms have joined the task force, which, launched in 2023. You should know the chair of the task force came out and said, and I'm quoting, that at the Royal Foundation, we are deeply proud that over the past year, members of our task force have shown such strong leadership and risen to this challenge. Their efforts have made a real, tangible difference in the lives of countless families with young children, and this is only the beginning of what's possible. The road ahead is bursting with potential. All right, let's move on. King Charles, knowing that he's in the middle of his cancer treatment, has reached out to Joe Biden because we know Joe Biden was diagnosed with an aggressive prostate cancer that has already spread to his bones. And it's a more aggressive form of the disease, and they're looking at possible treatments. I think it's wonderful that the king reached out to him. Let's move on. All right, next up, we have John Robertson, who was presented an award by Prince Edward at the Royal Windsor Horse Show. He is a level 3 technical delegate. He is judge and steward for endurance and was instrumental in conjunction with the Duke of Edinburgh. Love it. Moving on. All right, let's move on to our Harry Meghan stuff. First of all, we know that Chrissy Tegan is going to be on part 2 of season 1 of Meghan's show. So somebody asked Gwyneth Paltrow if she was going to be on it, and she goes, sure, why not? You never know. Very cryptic. So it leaves the door open for a potential appearance. Do I believe that she would actually go on the show? No. I don't think she'd be that stupid. She knows about people being markled. Moving on. All right, next up, the As Ever Company put out the statement that you're looking at, which was written by Meghan Markle. Now, the picture shows absolutely what a narcissist she is. The picture makes sure that all you see of Harry is his back and the back of his head, which has a little photoshopping to cover the bald spot again. But it makes it very clear that your focus should be on Meghan, always Meghan. Look at Meghan's face is really the only one that you can see in full. And by the way, we've seen this outfit before. That's the same outfit. All right, I want to go back to this 1990s vision board, which is very carefully curated. You have a picture from Norway. So, of course, that was a vacation they took back in 2017. But a lot of the images, it's cryptic messages. It's her trying to speak out against things that people have spoken about. And I just don't understand what half of this is. It's very bizarre, okay? Instead of just a loving image of them, she puts up something like this. This is supposedly an image of Archie, I'm assuming, an unseen before picture of Archie, but that's what you get when you zoom in. You get it? Now, she's also talking about the pregnancy. She knows that we believe that she did not carry those children. In case you haven't noticed, every ultrasound picture she puts up has no identifying information on it. And then she puts up this far away, dark picture of a baby bump that supposedly is her pregnant. Again, people can look at these pictures and they've picked it apart and they're saying that it's her wearing a fake baby bump in the front, that she's not really pregnant. Now, you have to wonder if that's true, but resting doll face, thank you very much. Yeah, she totally could be wearing a fake baby bump. Now, the news, of course, had something to say about all of this, so listen to this.
Business ventures, and today she has shared with us her memory board. Now, the memory board there, now look at that. That's fantastic. You know what people are going to do, don't you? You know there'll be really tacky people who will zoom in and try and see what photographs...
Sorry, Pete, don't call Kylie tacky. She's been doing that for 15 minutes in here.
Well, here we go. Now, you know, this, I know the pictures up there with the paper, with the drawing pins and stuff, it looks very random. This has been highly curated. You know, Meghan Markle knows perfectly well there'll be a TV show in Australia that'll be zooming in on all of these pictures, as people right around the world are going to be doing. So she's chosen carefully. You know, this is not so much a memory board, but a branding exercise.
Of course, she gave credit to all the different photographers and everything that she did, but it didn't take long for mainstream media to come out with the fact that Meghan had photoshopped some of the pictures that were seen in the post. They pointed out to this picture of Harry and this picture of Meghan, but when you take the picture of Harry and you put it next to this picture that was on the board, it is very clearly a photoshopped image. I mean, I don't know what she's thinking. She must think people are just really stupid. Now, supposedly, Meghan is hitting back at critics because it's a vulnerable wedding anniversary post. I don't see anything vulnerable in it. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. Supposedly because, once again, she's shown us the back of the kids' heads from 20 years ago. Look, I don't get it. But the truth of the matter is, she reportedly is looking to exit the marriage because she doesn't want Harry to go back to his family. She has done everything possible to cut him off. We already know this. She cut him off from absolutely everybody, his family, his friends. But that's what she does. She just drops people when they become difficult. This is the same thing. What happened when she ended her friendship with this guy who was a friend of hers. They had bonded over mint tea and philosophizing, and supposedly they were like-minded thinkers. She helped him edit an edition in 2019, but they cut contact because he planned to cover their charity work in one of his features. Now, what's being said is this is not a surprise. We see it all the time that things don't go her way. She just overreacts. Clearly, in this case with Edward Enninful, she's made something of an enemy, they're saying, because he then dropped her from something she would have liked to have been a part of. And this happens all the time. She's very demanding. She's difficult to work with. She has her idea of what she wants to do. She doesn't want to listen to anybody else. And that's when you get into trouble. This is a theme that seems to run through everything in her life. She rejects people. Look what she did to Jessica Maroney. She totally dumped her, right? Anything that she doesn't like, she has a fallout with, she dumps. She dumped the royal family. She dumped her friend Jessica. She dumped her first husband. She dumped her father. This is a theme that runs through her life. Everybody knows about it. So am I surprised that she dumped this guy? No, doesn't surprise me one little bit. Part of the article says that the trouble stems from the fact that everything is focused on her. Like the picture I showed you for their anniversary, it's focused on her. He spotlighted Meghan's Mother's Day post where she praised herself and didn't even mention her own mother. And then they went on to say they feel sorry for those kids and they wonder what they're going to think when they grow up and realize how they're being used. Now, here's the story of what supposedly happened. The former editor wanted to showcase Meghan's keynote speech at the One Young World Summit. Remember the one where she mentioned herself 57 times? But he didn't want to give Meghan the front cover. And so Meghan canceled the arrangement that she and her team were expecting she might get a print cover or a digital cover, but this guy Enifel was not able to meet the expectations. He already had a magazine cover for that month, and the whole process became difficult. He could only promise her a big showy feature inside the magazine and online, but she turned it down. So after being told they wouldn't make the cover, Meghan asked to be on a special digital cover, which would be available with the print edition, and her request was refused because he didn't think it would be appropriate. So at that point, she was so offended, she walked away from the offer completely, and that was his breaking point, and that fractured the friendship beyond repair. And in the meantime, this guy is now a trustee for the King's Fund and the King Charles's charity, and he hosted a glitzy New York event for the King's Trust earlier this month, and Meghan was not on the list. FYI, it was reported that back when she worked with him in 2009, there was a lot of tension, that she made a lot of demands. She wanted the edition leaked online. He said no, and it was just ridiculous. Somebody else who's been markled. I'm not surprised. Oh my goodness, I definitely want your comments on this one. Don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button and the bell for all notifications. Then go down into the description box where you'll find the link to my Twitter, my Gettr, my Rumble, my email, my Amazon wish list, my father's book, which is still up for sale, and a link to my second channel, as well as a physical address. For those of you who've donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.